Hello, my name is Nicholas Welke. I am a recent college graduate from Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York, and this is the game I created, well, the final level for the game I created, called The Maze. And as I said, it's the final level. It's the pre-alpha game design for it, and it was created for Marist Game Design Expo, which was held on May 8th. And the purpose of the expo was to show off student projects, and I figured it would be really nice to show off what I was working on and what I had an idea for. And I got some really positive feedback on it, which really made me excited. The people who played it said that they enjoyed it, even though they got lost. So since they got lost, I decided I would be helpful and give them a map of the maze itself. And even with the map, the fastest time was still 20 minutes. But they did say that they enjoyed it and that they thought it was a good base for multiple different things. Like, some people thought that it could be something like Slender, that you could just have like someone just pop around corners and try to find you, and it could be really terrifying. Other people thought that you can just have like other enemies that you're trying to kill. And I mean, I already have an idea of what I want to do, but it was really interesting to hear the different ideas that people thought could come from this game. And so things that I plan on adding to this once it's fully done is audio for the game's two characters, the protagonist and antagonist. I'm not going to get into detail about their backstories, but I think that they are really interesting characters. I'm going to add some textures to the wall, but I'm not really sure what textures I'm going to add yet. I'm still deciding on how I want to do the layout of the levels, so like what kind of theme I want to use. And I plan on adding a heads-up display that will have a timer for how long the player has left to finish the maze, and possibly, depending on if it's fully necessary, a mini-map, because it seemed to help people. It seemed to help them get through the maze faster with the map, but then again, I don't want them to get through the map too fast. So I have figured I would just answer some simple questions, which I think are simple. So when will the game be finished completely? It should be finished around mid-July, once I get through all the design, textures, and audio and everything that I said before. There are going to be a total of 6 levels in the game, 5 actual levels, and 1 just like tutorial level to get the player caught up to speed on what's going on in the game with the characters and whatnot. So this looks like a simple maze, so why should people play it? They should play it because I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, as I said, I got a lot of positive feedback on it, so I really think people would enjoy playing it. And once I said about a timer, they're like, ooh, this could make it really challenging, because depending on how long I make the timer could affect how, like, the pressure that people feel about finishing the game on time. So what made me want to make this game? Well, I've played plenty of puzzle games before, so I thought it would be really interesting to make a puzzle game. I like puzzles. I like word puzzles, things like that, as well as like video game puzzles such as like Ace Attorney and Professor Layton. So I thought that it would be really interesting to do a puzzle and see how people like make decisions about what turns to make, when to make the turns, their emotions through it, because I think that like the interaction with the player is one of the most important parts of a game. So I wanted to try to see if I can get a good reaction from the players, which I did. So I mean, the common thing was, as I said before, they enjoyed it, but they were extremely terrified. So I thought that was very funny and very interesting and really insightful. And so about that timer, like, you may be thinking, well, it just sounds like a simple timer. That doesn't really sound like I should play the game more. But I think the interesting thing is the fact that once the timer like hits 0, the player doesn't die, but instead something else happens, and I'm not going to say what else happens, except that the result does have an effect on the ending. And since there are 5 different levels, I do believe there are a total of 32 possible endings, which is a lot, and I think that'll actually take majority of the time, like, to finish, is the different endings. But I do think it'll definitely be worth it, and so I think it'd be really cool to see people play it and get different endings with their friends and be like, oh, I got this ending, and oh, I got this ending. and maybe from then I can possibly create more mazes. I've actually created a total of 15 mazes. I mean, this is just one maze. Well, it's the size of 5 normal mazes, so that's why it seems so large. I mean, a normal maze of this will just be one fit, so I'm guessing the time would be a lot shorter to finish it than it is now. So you may be wondering, like, what happens at the end? What happens at the end of the game? Well, again, that's a surprise. I don't want to spoil anything, but as I said, there are 32 possible endings, so you should stay tuned for that. So you also may be now wondering, like, hey, this actually may be cool, so should I play this game? Well, I will say no for the moment, because I want to get it designed, and I just think I have a lot of ideas for it, and I just want to get it all focused, and I want to focus on that. So thank you for following. You can see my WordPress or email me if you have questions.